IELTS Speaking Part 2 Topics and Questions. Here's the thing, you don't really know what topic or what question you are going to be asked in IELTS Speaking Part 2. So in order to score high, you need to be ready to speak about various topics. And in today's video, I'm actually going to prepare you by going over 10 of the most common topics and how you can respond to them in IELTS Speaking Part 2. We're actually going to go over example answers as well, so keep watching. Assalamu alaikum everyone, right into it. So let's say the examiner asks you, describe a memorable trip you took. You should say where you went, who you went with, and what you did. And also explain why you found it memorable. Let's go over a sample answer. Last year, I actually took a family trip to Vancouver. Vancouver is such a beautiful city to visit. There are so many mountains in Vancouver. Every view is stunning. Honestly, I've lived in Canada all my life, but I've never visited anywhere outside of Ontario, so this was my first time. Some things we did is we actually visited a beautiful bridge. I forget the name at the moment, but it was such a beautiful sight to see because when you cross the bridge, there's mountains on one side and trees on the other side. You could actually walk around the mountain. They have some sort of stairs they've made. So it's just so breathtaking. I can't even explain. I think it was memorable because it was a trip that I took with my family, and my son really enjoyed it as well because we also visited the aquarium and we saw penguins and seals and whales. So this was a very memorable trip for my entire family, and I'll never forget this experience. So as you see in the answer, I actually made it very simple and I shared some details on what type of excursions or what type of things we did while we were there. One tip I could give you is talk about your emotions and what stood out to you on your trip that made it so memorable, so that way you are able to get the examiners to start imagining how exactly the place looked and why you enjoyed it. And here's a second topic that you may get on your IELTS Speaking Part 2 section. Describe a memorable childhood memory. You should say what the memory is, who was involved, and why you remember it so clearly. So one sample answer for this given question would be something like, well, when I was younger, I'll never forget, I used to be outside from sunrise to sunset with my cousins playing around our townhouse. These days were so much fun because we would always pick up toys, pick up trees, help raise animals like cats. We'd actually give the cats some milk because we found that they were hungry, and we found where exactly the cats would give birth to kittens. So we'd always decide to buy cat food for the kittens to help raise them. One fond memory I have when I was a child is every time I came home, there would be a nice aroma, nice smell of delicious food. God bless my mother, who would always make us a meal every evening. So when we have a long day outside, we'd come home to a delicious meal. I really remember and cherish these moments because my cousins actually literally lived a 5-minute walk from my house, and we cherished so many memories together. And now that we have kids, we love to make those memories with our own kids so they could cherish those memories forever and become close with one another. And a tip here for this type of question is to use sensory details, like what you remembered with the smell, what you saw, what you heard. These are great ways for you to come up with ideas to discuss in your answers so the examiner knows exactly what you are talking about. And the third tip is describe a skill you want to learn. You should say what the skill is, why you want to learn it, and how you plan to learn it. And a sample answer you could give something like, I've actually always wanted to learn how to swim. I'm actually truthfully very afraid of water, so I think it's important to overcome your fear, especially with water. So one way I plan to learn swimming is I actually have a swimming pool in my condominium downstairs. So if I actually sacrifice at least an hour or two every night and I go down there with my kids and my husband, I think I would definitely eventually pick it up. But truthfully, I get lazy sometimes to go down there and to practice swimming and then go through the whole hassle of getting ready and everything like that. But I think swimming is definitely a very important life skill to know and also to learn. And this is my plan on how to learn it. In this answer, if you realized, the tip I can give you is that I highlighted my motivation and why it's important to learn this skill. So if you talk about why you're motivated to learn, this is going to help touch up on your response and actually give you the ability to speak for a full 2 minutes. And the fourth question is describing a person you admire. You should say who the person is, why you admire them, what qualities they have. So have a careful listen at this sample answer. I actually deeply admire my mother. My mother is a very hardworking woman. When she arrived to Canada, the only skill she had is sewing. She knew how to sew clothes, she knew how to hem pants, shorten curtains. So without knowing a word of English, she still decided to proceed with opening a business and an alteration store. While she opened her alteration store, she was able to succeed because she was so talented in what she did. People didn't care if she knew English or not. They just cared about her mastery of knowing how to sew. Other than that, my mother has qualities of being loving and caring towards her children and always worried about them and concerned for their well-being. She's my inspiration because now that I am a mother, I want to give the same love and affection to my kids and show them that mothers are the most valuable asset in this world. So the tip I can give you over here is if you noticed, I actually gave certain qualities that makes my mother stand out, such as her sewing skill and how she opened an alteration store without knowing a word of English. This is going to help you score a high band in IELTS speaking. So if you are able to do this, this is a bonus, guys. And speaking of practice, ladies, if you're looking to join a community where you will be able to practice your speaking, then you might find my IELTS Speaking Ladies Club really interesting. This ladies club is actually hosted over Zoom. I actually teach you ladies. We go over different IELTS speaking mock tests. I give you feedback and I give you any suggestions, tips on anywhere I think you can improve on. If you are interested in this ladies club, make sure you join down below. I've made it specifically for those of you who are stay-at-home moms, who have lots of responsibility of taking care of your children, and maybe you want to learn English from home and you want to become that confident English speaker. Check the description box down below. And the fifth question is about an unforgettable event. Describe an unforgettable event. You should say what the event was, where it was, and why it was unforgettable. An event I'll never forget is my university graduation. My university graduation is something I will always cherish forever, is because I actually decided to go back to school when I became a mother. Amidst all the difficulties of being in university while being a mother, a wife, I never gave up on my dreams of becoming an ESL professor. So I definitely say my university graduation was something I'll never forget, because both of my children actually were there to watch me walk across the stage to receive my degree. So this is something just so amazing, and I'll cherish forever. The tip here is to focus on emotions and the personal significance of this particular event. So just as I mentioned that this was something I cherish forever because of my kids and them seeing me walk across stage to receive my diploma or my degree, this is something you can mention in your answer too, because it will make it more personable and more memorable. And the sixth question is, describe a time you helped someone. Who you helped, what the situation was, and how you felt afterwards. A few months ago, I actually helped my neighbor set up her new furniture she bought from IKEA. She had a lot of new pieces, like 3 beds for herself and her kids, and a few computer table and coffee table. So I decided to offer to help her set up the furniture so she could get the ball rolling a lot more quick. It was a really rewarding experience to help her, especially because she's a single mom with 2 young ones. So I wanted to make her life a lot easier by either watching her kids or helping her with her furniture. So I decided to do a little bit of both. I think it's very important to help others when they are in need, because this will come back to you and it actually just creates a positive environment. As I mentioned earlier, it was a very rewarding experience to help her, but I felt so good once I helped her and I saw her furniture everywhere. I felt like, what if I was, God forbid, going through this? I would definitely want somebody to help me. So it felt really nice to help my neighbor. So the tip here is that you should be explaining the positive impact it had on you and the individual, and how the experience made you feel personally, because use this opportunity to showcase your values and what you feel or how you feel about certain situations. So moving along to the 7th topic, describe an important decision you made. What was the decision? What was the decision? Why you made it? What was the result of it? And here's a sample answer. A few years ago, I actually decided to go on a really strict routine. I wouldn't even call it a diet. I would say a routine where I was working out 4 to 5 times a week, and I was on a strict sugar cut diet. So I wasn't having any sugar at all. I was still eating carbs, and this actually helped me not only lose weight, but it actually helped me build a lot of strength, because I was doing a lot of strength training. It was really important for me to build strength, especially because I want to be there for my children, and I want to be there to be able to take care of them as well as take care of myself. I think choosing a healthy lifestyle is essential for us, is because as we age, it gets a lot more difficult to lift grocery bags or lift heavy things. So if you are able to choose a healthy lifestyle and live by it, this would definitely benefit you in the long run. And here's a tip. As you saw in this particular answer, I highlighted the process behind the decision and why I made this decision and the thought process behind it and how it impacted me positively, why I chose it, because of my kids getting old, or because I was getting old and I did not want to suffer the consequences of not being able to take care of myself. If you do this, guys, throughout your response, this is what's going to help you. And have a careful look at the 8th topic. Describe a hobby you enjoy. You should say what the hobby is, how often you do it, and why you enjoy it. The funny thing is, one of my hobbies are to make YouTube videos. I find it to be very rewarding to help English language learners around the world practice their IELTS speaking and also to pass their exams so they can live a better life abroad. And the time I make YouTube videos actually fits my schedule because I try to make the videos while my kids are in school, even though it's a big process. So I actually make the videos, but I do not edit the videos because I actually have a wonderful editor who will be editing this video, who helps me make my videos look flawless. Here's a tip and how you should answer this type of question. So the best way is to talk about how this hobby fits your routine and why it's meaningful to you. So just as I mentioned, it's meaningful to me because I find it rewarding to help people pass their exam. This is something you need to remember for this type of question. And the ninth topic is describe a place where you would like to visit. Where is the place? Why you want to visit there, and who do you want to go with? I've actually always wanted to visit Japan, especially during the cherry blossom season. Cherry blossoms are beautiful trees that you can see, and we actually have one or two in Canada, but I know in Japan they are just so beautiful. I also heard the Japanese culture, the people are very disciplined and very routine oriented, especially throughout primary years of the kids. And I think this is so amazing that they have this type of culture, and it's so much I can learn from. I'd like to visit Japan with my family and my children because I think it's important for them to experience such a culture and to learn from others, because this is how we are molded and we become better people. So the tip on how you should be answering this question is to share your personal experience and your excitement of visiting this particular place. What you hope to experience during your visit, so that way the examiner knows your comfort level of speaking English. And let's go to the last topic. Describe a goal you achieved. You should say what the goal was, why you wanted to achieve it, and how you achieved it. One of my biggest goals were actually running a 5-kilometer race. And the funny thing is, it wasn't just a typical race, it was actually a 5-kilometer mud girl race. This was so much fun because we had to go through different obstacles that had mud all over. So while you are trying to get to the finish line, you are covered in mud from head to toe. It was so much fun, and it felt so good once I got to the 5-kilometer race line because I actually experienced this memorable event with both my sister and my niece, who was 9 years old at the time. And oh yeah, by the way, she did such an amazing job because she got to the finish line. So the tip for this type of question is to highlight the steps that took you to get to the finish line and explain actually achieving this goal, how it has affected you. And that's it, guys. We've gone over 10 common IELTS speaking part 2 topics and questions. So I hope you like this video. Remember to practice these questions yourself. And also, if you'd like a PDF of this particular lesson, make sure you check my description box down below. You could download this lesson in PDF format and save it right on your desktop to refer to it at a later time. Take care, guys, and I hope to see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.